So thank you very much and welcome to my session. This is about how we can change the world using data. And I want to kick this off with a very simple question. And the question that I'm having is, if you were to found a startup right now, what would you found? And I will leave you a little bit with this question and a little bit of time to think about this. And I want to draw your attention a little bit about what is happening at the moment to this world that you can make a better and more informed decision. Because what is happening, and this is happening more or less since the 60s, so Gordon Moore came up with this, what is now called the Moore's Law in the 1960s. And what it essentially says is that computing power doubles every second year and that it's cost decreasing every second year as well. So he laid out a theory for, in the end, the exponential growth of computing technology and the data growth that we are experiencing and having in this world at the moment. And while technology capabilities are increasing with this exponential growth and costs are decreasing with this exponential growth, this explains a lot of what is happening right now in this world. This explains a lot about the technological developments that we can see all over the world happening. Like, for example, remote medical operations, for example, 5G, for example, autonomous driving, all of those technical achievements that we are facing now that are really changing the way how we act as a society, how we work, how we live, how we will do our jobs in the future. They are all based on the exponential growth of technology. And to put this a little bit into perspective about the numbers that we are talking about, so there's a recent IDC study out there that estimates that in 2025, we will reach a global data volume of 175 zettabyte. Zettabyte is a number with 23 zeros, or 175 billion terabyte. And this would mean if you would press this on DVDs, it would reach from the Earth to the moon 23 times forth and back. Or if you would watch, for example, the whole Netflix library 500 million times, that would be the equivalent. And to put this into perspective, in 2018, we had 33 zettabytes of data flying around the world. And after all what we know from the exponential growth, after all the theories that are putting in place, and even the reality is scrolling faster and faster than those theories, all what we know, and after all what we know, even this number will be too small in the future. And when we're reaching this number in 2025, almost 60% of this data will be corporate related. So at the moment, 60% of the data 2020 is privately related. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, stuff like this. And 2025, the estimation is that companies will generate way more data than we're actually doing in our private lives. And to put this a little bit into perspective about the data which is flying around at the moment, like while I'm talking, every minute in 2020, they are uploading 500 hours of YouTube video. While I'm talking, every minute, Amazon is sending out almost 7,000 packages, almost more than 200,000 participants in Zoom meetings, and there will be published more than 350,000 Instagram stories in every minute that I'm talking now. And this data is huge. And this data gives us actually the power of really changing something within the world, because data in the end is power, and data enables in the end totally new business models where we have seen a rise in the last, 10, 15, 20 years. So all the companies out there that are now big, like for example, Alibaba, Tencent, Amazon, Netflix, Google, all those big companies, SAP, for example, they are all tech companies. And the business models they are operating are all based on data. So if we look, for example, on the business model of Amazon, the whole business model of Amazon is based on data. The success of Amazon is based on the customer experience that you are having with Amazon, based on the fast delivery, the personalization, and the understanding of your customer behavior within the platform. And what Amazon is striving for in the end, or the vision, is that they can predict in the end your buying behavior. So what they're trying to do, like by combining all the data, or what they could do by combining all the data, is, for example, to predict what are you likely to buy, and to bring it then to a warehouse near to you, that if you are buying it, it can be delivered as fast as possible to your home. and then increasing the customer loyalty to the platform because you get a good customer experience with Amazon. What they could also introduce based on the data, and this might come in a few years, also not just for Amazon, but for all platforms out there in this world, is a different pricing for different people. So what they could do based on the profiles they're having of you and based on the data they are having about you, for example, your income data, your social media profiles, your LinkedIn profile, where you're stating, okay, what job are you running for, which company are you working for, and which city do you live, which area in the city are you living in, they could actually show you up different pricing for different articles. So if you're living, for example, in Berlin, you have to pay a specific amount of money for a specific product. And somebody who's living in Schwerin, for example, they would pay, for example, less for even the same product based on the profile, on your personality, and based on the predictions that Amazon is making in regards to, can somebody pay actually this amount of money for this product? Another thing that I want to show you, and this is an official advertisement from iRobot, so those automatic cleaning machines that are running through your house and try to clean up your house. So this is something that you can actually find on YouTube. When you type in iRobot advertisement, this is a video that will show up. And what it's telling you is, or what it's showing is actually what iRobot is doing with your home. They have sensors in there, and those sensors are working in 2D. And they are planning out your whole home because they need to organize themselves. And they introduce a new feature that you can see here for the newest generation. It doesn't just have 2D sensors, but it's actually having 3D sensor built in. So what they could do in the future, based on the data that they are now generating, is that they are understanding exactly not just how big your home is, but actually which furniture is standing in your home. Like, how big is your carpet? How big is your couch? How big is your kitchen? And what they could do with this data, for sure, anonymized, but what they could do is to sell this data, for example, to furniture companies who want to better understand what sizes of homes do customers have and how do they combine specific furniture with each other. So this is really, data is really enabling new business models here. Now think about this. Whenever you want to renovate a wall in your home, you're going to one of those hardware stores like Obi or Hornbach or Bauhaus or whatever you have in your city. So you go in there and then you have this huge wall about those 2,000 colors where you can pick one, and then you're buying this color, you put this on the wall, and 2 weeks later you're questioning yourself, man, why did I buy this color? It is ugly. So, and there's a solution for this. So the Technical University of Eindhoven is researching especially in nanoparticles. And they came up with an idea of having nanoparticles as a wall paint. So what they are doing is, or what you would do as a color producer is, you would not just produce those 2,000 colors anymore, but you would produce just one color. And you wouldn't sell it to the hardware stores, like, for example, Obi or Hornbach and so on, but you would sell it directly to your end customer. And you can control this color by your smartphone, for example, and you can control within your home on which wall, in which respect, should show up which color. And what's happening then here is that you're actually getting insights about the consumer behavior or the customer behavior in regards to your specific products. So insights that you weren't having before. So now imagine you would open this up and would buy in data from the outside, like, for example, Spotify data and other data. And what you could figure out, for example, is pattern in the behavior of people. Like, for example, somebody is coming home, the wall is blue, he listens to sad music on Spotify. So why don't you offer a service telling those people, hey, look, paint your wall red and listen to this and that music on Spotify, and your well-being will be better. And you can sell this opportunity to artists who wants to trend on Spotify. So instead of just saying random artists, what you can actually sell is the placements of those artists within your controller app. And from there on, you're changing your whole business model from just producing colors to platform business on Spotify. And this leads us into an area where you really have to question the ethical use of data. So is it ethical for a company like this to combine these different data sets and to find patterns in the behavior of humans, in the psychology of humans? And there's a very prominent example out there in the market. This is Alexander Nix. He's the former CEO of Cambridge Analytica. a company where I think they did a very, very interesting project. What they actually did is they gathered data from social media. They combined this data with psychological profiles and then did micro-targeting for political campaigns on social media. Because what they try to understand is what is the best political message for those specific people based on what they are sharing within social media and based on the psychological profile you can derive from what they are doing on social media. And this is from an ethical standpoint, highly questionable. And it's the same, like, for example, when you watch the Netflix documentation, the social dilemma, what Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, what all those social media are doing to us, how they set up systems to actually changing the way how we work as a society. And behind this is one single concept, which is data as a business. They know, and all those companies know, and almost all companies in the world know that if you can generate data, you can make money out of this. Like the sentence, data is becoming the new oil, is around in the world like 15, 20 years. But the major thing about this is, and companies know this, they are gathering all this data, but it's unstructured data. Most companies do not know what they've actually stored in regards to the data and which hidden secrets are within the data sets they are actually gathering from all over the world. So the magic behind this can be for you to actually unlock this potential of and unlock the value of data which is stored. So making the data applicable, making data visible, run insights on data and really generating insights that you haven't had before and making sense out of data. And with this, you can influence actually the business world. So coming back to the questions, if you were to found a startup right now, what would it be? And you can tell me also this later on in the Zoom session that we are having, and I will tell you what I would find. So first of all, what I actually found last week is a company to sell innovation and to pitch innovation within Europe. So really helping others to pitch their idea to really bring disruption forward. The second thing that I was thinking of if I would have to found a startup is a fully automated cannabis farm running totally on machine learning. And I will tell you also later on why I'm thinking this is a great idea. And the third thing that I would think about if I would have to found a startup is actually a data startup, probably something with data intelligence or machine learning. So if we take the later on, if we take the data startup, and you would say, okay, this is something I want to go into as well. What could you actually do? So what you could do is on the one side, generate new data. So putting like generating totally new streams of data, generating new insights that we haven't had before. Or the other thing that you could actually do is to combine different data sets and different data sources together in a new environment and put a nice user interface on it so that it's actually easier to consume and work with this data. And to be honest, 98% of all business models out there in this world, which has to do with data, are either falling in the category of generating data or either falling in the category of combining data. And this is exactly what's behind the success of Spotify, what's behind the success of Uber, of Netflix, and also on. Like the thing they were doing, it was established before Spotify, for example, existed. Listening to music already exists. This is nothing like this wasn't a new category or something. The only way or the only thing they changed was actually to bring this data together and put it into a different user experience, to put it in a different user interface, that it was easier for you to actually consume all of this data and actually giving you insights with machine learning and recommendations in regards to your personal taste, for example. A whole other category is, and this is then generating data, is what André Reterath did at the Technical University in Munich, or what he's actually doing. So André had an idea, and his idea was, what if I could predict the next Facebook or the Zoom or TikTok, so the next unicorn startup with machine learning? So what he did is he trained his machine learning algorithm with almost 80,000 startups and their development over 3 and 5 years. and then tested his machine learning algorithm against 111 venture capitalist investment professionals. And what he found out is that his machine learning algorithm outperformed the average venture capitalist professional by 29%. So almost 1/3 of the startups, Andre's machine learning algorithm could better predict if this startup would become successful in 3 to 5 years or not. So with this, you can really see that if you can understand data, if you put it into right context, it can really change the way how we can actually have an impact on the world and how the world is actually running. So data really enables new business models, and the impact of this is very enormous. And this is where SAP is coming into place, because this is the power of the company that I'm working for. Because almost 80% of all worldwide transactions are based or touched in an SAP system. So whenever you're driving a Mercedes, this is built with SAP software. Whenever you buy something in the Apple App Store, it's built on SAP software. If you buy something in Walmart or all the other retailers, it's run with SAP. If you buy Adidas shoes, it's made with SAP. So almost every company in this world and almost each and every transaction which is happening in the business world is running through our software. And with this, we have an enormous reach, an enormous impact on how to run a business. And the vision that we're putting out there for this responsibility is that we want to establish intelligent enterprises. And this means that running all transactions within this business environment, end-to-end, intelligence and automated. So what does this mean? What does those buzzwords mean? And what I'm always like comparing it to, or the analogy that I'm always using is kind of the autonomous driving for business processes. So you have your Tesla there, which is driving autonomous through the streets. And this is the software that we are supplying for businesses that they can run their transaction more or less automated. And with this, we have the huge opportunity to actually change this world. So what other people do on the streets, changing the world, we are actually doing in the conference rooms around the globe with the data of companies and to really help to change the way how they run the business. I want to show you 3 initiatives in the last 5 to 10 minutes that I'm having, how we actually running this and how we are actually doing this. So the first thing is around the networks. The world is changing, like companies depending on each other. Not a single company can provide a whole reach or the whole product anymore. So you have to have shared business models. Like NIO in China is now doing this. They are revolutionizing the electrification of cars by just selling a car, and then you get battery as a service from a partner where you can choose, depending on the plan that you are having, which battery you are actually trying to use. So this is very important. What we established here, for example, is a whole network for industrial 3D printing. So we brought together designers, customers, supplier, and delivery companies on one platform so they can interchange data, and that we very making the collaboration between those companies very easy on one platform. Another thing that we are doing right now, and this is something we published in September, is kind of the Amazon for B2B data trading between companies. So whenever you are a company, you're generating a huge amount of data. And sometimes it's the case that another company is highly interested in buying this data to get better understanding in regards to your industry or in regards to your business processes. And the problem with this is always the integration and the data clarification in this. So we build up a software for this so that companies can actually interchange data to each other to make the working together with each other way more easy and reduce the complexity. The second initiative that we are running, or one of those initiatives that we are running, is all about climate change. So we put out a project or whole program out there for Climate 21. And what we actually doing there is we supplying our companies or our customers with software that they can actually reduce their carbon footprint or their ecological footprint in general. So for example, we can track down for every individual product the company is producing its whole ecological footprint about the whole value chain. And this is absolutely unique in the market. At the moment, there's no other company in this world who can have this, this visibility about the whole value chain and to really track down the carbon footprint here. And the beauty of this is, if you're now knowing how much carbon footprint I'm producing, for example, based on my product, I can actually do something against this. So data allows decisions. And with this, we are actually establishing a whole new business category with our customers, not just only having a bottom line and top line, but we're also introducing green line, because we're putting this out so that customers or end customers can actually decide, besides the price tag, reading also the carbon footprint and then deciding with which company they are buying their products. And now I'm coming a little bit to this wheat farm thing, because we had a project with Farmers Cut, who is a startup from Hamburg, and they had the idea of doing farming in a totally different sense. So they are providing growth boxes, like you can see here, and it's called Harvest on Demand. So the idea behind this is not just you planting salad on the fields, but you're actually planting it at home or in your company. And whenever you need salad, you're just going there, you pick it from there, and then it's absolutely fresh. And the beauty of this company is that everything runs on machine learning. So whenever they deploy a growth box, and they are now deploying this to Kuwait and Dubai because they cannot grow salad there, it's all running based on a machine learning algorithm, which optimizes itself constantly. So they reduce the time to grow salad, I think, from 21 days to 18 days, which is huge. The third category we are working on is everything in regards to experience management, or how we call it, to really understand what is happening with your company and why is it happening. So why do customers actually buying, for example, your products, and why wouldn't they? Or why does somebody work for a specific company and why wouldn't they? What's the reason why you leave a company, for example? And then really in the customer journey or in the employee journey to figuring out, okay, what are those touch points? What is this real customer journey? And then measuring all those interactions and measuring what leads in the end to the fact that if you're walking into the store, you are walking out buying a product. And to really calculate this data and really put it into business context so that we can give our customers insights about how to run their business in a more efficient, more optimized way. But the thing behind this is always, you can have the best software out there. You can have the best code lines, you can have the best product, but if nobody is using it, it's totally useless. So when we are putting out software for Climate 21 to really tackle climate change, it doesn't have anything if companies do not apply this for their business processes. So what I have to do is I first of all have to develop the software, but then I'm also need to be able to sell the software and to kick off this whole innovation process. And I need to be able not just to coding it in the best way, but also to convince people to use the latest technology. Because in the end, the world has only been changed by people who changed it. So it's so important really to go out and actually trying to change some things. And this is what I want to encourage you to. So really to dare, whatever you do or what you intend to do. And coming back to the startup question in the beginning, whatever idea you would try to found, do it. Be bold, try it out, go out and try to develop your ideas. And if you need help in pitching those ideas or selling ideas to investors or customers, you can reach out to me. If you need help in your startup and try to understand how you can work with SAP together, what technology to use and how to run business models, how to run pricing, we have a whole world out there for startups within SAP. And if you want to go on the journey with us to really changing this world in conference rooms with the data of customers, you can come to us either, for example, as a developer or as a salesperson, and you should apply then for a job with SAP. My name was Volker Hein, and you can meet me now for questions and also later on in the discussion within our Zoom rooms. So thank you very much.
If you're still ready, we would have one question from the audience for right now.
For sure.
So the question is, almost every big corporation uses SAP in one way or another. for some of its operational IT purposes. Isn't it dangerous when all of the big corporations are depending on one company?
I mean, no, it isn't. Because in the end, what we are providing is the best software in the world. So everything in regards to security, everything in regards to how we develop our software. So you have to imagine there are almost 100,000 people working within SAP, and almost half of them is development resources. And the thing why all of those companies are depending or using our software is because they are getting the most of our software, because it's the most highly sophisticated software out there in the market. It's not like that there are not other providers in the market. So for example, for all the different areas we are doing, like for example, procurement area, digital supply chain, manufacturing, the whole ERP market, customer experience, all those different categories that where we are providing software, you can always choose somebody else.